This is Celeste of Astrology by Celeste with a special broadcast where we are seeing a moment in history, and I just wanted to come on and speak about it in real time. So, hi everyone who's joining. I'm talking about the current astrology and Hurricane Helene, Hurricane Milton, and the election, and Kamala Harris. Yes, I wanted to notate what we are seeing right now. So, tomorrow, Pluto stations direct in the sign of Capricorn at the 29th anaretic degree, wrapping up its work. And this is so important for the United States because when the United States was founded, Pluto was at 27 Capricorn. And the United States has been in what's called its Pluto return, where the planet gets back to where it was when a person, a country, or whatever was born. And it's a restart. It's a restart of the energy, and things come to culmination of the relationship of the planet. And Pluto rules, it unearths things. It rules power dynamics. It rules conspiracies and all of there's always like triangulation with Pluto often, where there'd be three parties. And Capricorn rules governments and big businesses. And our Pluto return started really back in 2008 with the too big to fail crisis, where the banks failed and all of that. And now here we are, at the precipice of Pluto moving from Capricorn into the sign of Aquarius permanently. It's been dancing back between the two, but Aquarius is the sign of the collective, the sign of the people. Think about how Kamala Harris is calling her campaign people powered. That's Pluto in Aquarius. I saw a sign for Harris Waltz that said, Harris Waltz for the people. That's Pluto in Aquarius. That's where we're going. Where we've been is Pluto in Capricorn. We saw on Sunday Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, jumping for joy behind Donald Trump, with the opportunity for him to be able to do whatever he wants without regulations with his businesses. Donald Trump keeps talking about how he's going to take away regulations. Taking away regulations, the reason we have an EPA is because back in the 70s, rivers were on fire from all of the pollution that corporations were dumping in them. And we are at this tipping point with climate change, and we're seeing one of the strongest hurricanes hit the country ever. And last week, as Mercury in Libra and went into square Mars in Cancer, Mercury square Mars, Mercury communicates, and Mars in Cancer, the sign of its detriment, can be taking actions that it could be lying. Let me just say this. Mercury square Mars can be about lying or fighting words or things like that. And there was Donald Trump, and the people who surround him were parroting all these lies about what the government was doing, saying that the governor, who's a Republican governor of Georgia, couldn't get Biden on the phone. And then the governor of Georgia said on a conference, I talked to Biden this morning. And there were several governors who had to correct Donald Trump's misinformation. And then he said the government was giving money from FEMA to illegal immigrants or migrants. And no, that's what his administration did. They took money from FEMA and they used it to build camps or whatever you want to call that thing. So anyway, there's been all this misinformation. And today the sun is in Libra. And the United States, if you look at the Sibley chart, the 10th house has Libra on the cusp. Our midheaven is at one, it's either one or two Libra. It's one Libra, I'm pretty sure. One Libra. So the 10th house is the executive branch, and the midheaven is the president. And what we're seeing here, as the sun is shining in Libra and the moon went into Capricorn earlier today. Capricorn rules planning, governments, infrastructure, all these things. And Libra communicates, negotiates, tries to find win-win solutions. And they're coming to a first quarter moon square of taking action. It's a crisis of action. And what we have seen, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not think I've ever seen this in my entire life, where President Biden is sitting and he's got all these screens up in front of him. We are seeing behind the curtain of the government as Pluto is standing still in the sky, about to go direct tomorrow at that 29th degree of crisis. There's a Plutonian crisis that impacts millions of people. And we are seeing behind the screen of the government with Biden and Harris asking all the different heads of the agencies questions about, we're watching them do their work. We're watching Kamala Harris essentially doing what she's going to be doing when she's president. We saw her, there was a thing where she was talking to the Weather Channel, asking them questions. And she said, all these people, hotels, and she's telling the people what they are entitled to, because the concern was that there were people who were not even going to apply for government assistance because Donald Trump and his allies were saying all you'll get is $750. There's no point. I don't know if they said there's no point in applying, but they were suggesting it was pointless to even, that the government wasn't doing anything. So to counteract this, Biden had a press conference earlier about telling the truth about what it means and why you apply, and that $750 is just for right now. There's other assistance later, but they're doing things they would never have to do in the past because no other of any party besides Donald Trump that I can think of would have, in a crisis, tried to undermine the government, because no matter what you disagree with whoever, there was we've never had anyone who was only concerned about themselves like this that I'm aware of in office, or at that vying in my lifetime. I would say regardless of if you like their policies or like them or whatever, there was a care about the United States above, a care about the United States, or wouldn't do something like this to undercut the government. Anyway, so what they're doing is we're seeing them do their work behind the scenes. And one of the things I talked about, Operation Hester Prynne. Hester Prynne was the main character of the Scarlet Letter, who got pregnant out of wedlock and had to wear a scarlet A, and she was like ostracized, and at one point she had to stand in a square. And I've talked about how part of the Republican attack plan, and the Democrats have an attack plan. I'm well aware that both political parties are down and dirty. Politics is dirty business, but about trying to demonize her as a fallen woman or sexualize her. Well, anyway, I talked about this with the lady in red, and that this week there would be this plan about her lady in red. And it was her plan. She went on, I thought it was going to be a attack plan. She went on Call Her Daddy podcast, and then Howard Stern, which are both talk about sex a lot in different ways. And one of this Kennedy, he's a senator. One of the things apparently on Call Her Daddy, she was talking about something about tampons or availability. And he said, there's whoever doesn't care about tampons, there's a hurricane or whatever. If you are a woman, yes, you do care about access to tampons if there's a tragedy like this. And all of these organizations, that's one of the things they work to provide. Again, showing how out of touch the current GOP is with anything about women's rights. They're taking away the right to choose whether you agree with abortion or not. I think Kamala Harris made a great case on Howard Stern about whether you're anti-abortion or not. Do you want the government telling you what you can do with your body? She is making her case, and around this first quarter moon, sun shining in the house of the 10th house of the executive branch of the government, which is her, Biden, all of these heads of agencies who are working desperately to do as much as they can to save as many human lives as they can during this tragedy, squaring Capricorn, the planning and all of this kind of stuff. Next week, there is, and I wrote in my post that the strategy to demonize her would backfire, and something about, I got this image of rock star status. I think the way people see how she works as a leader, she told people who price gouge for hotels, gas, anything else, that they are being monitored and they will have consequences after the storm. So she's showing her leadership capabilities in a way that she wouldn't have if Donald Trump had not come out with all these lies about the government assistance, because they wouldn't have shown us that. We don't see this stuff. That's what the news is for, to tell us, to communicate with those people and tell us. We don't see behind the curtain, but they're showing us this in order to counteract misinformation. As we come to the full moon with the sun in the 10th house, the executive branch, the current party in power, opposite moon in Aries in the opposing party, and Mars in Cancer, these lies that are having been told opposite Pluto in Capricorn, this cardinal grand cross that's going to be active, and it's growing as we go to the full moon. This is what is going to tip her over the point to win the election. Now, I posted, I think it's going to be delayed, the results, because it challenges around the storm, but people being disenfranchised. But this is what will give her what I called rock star status. Watching her show calm, effective leadership during a crisis. She has her moon in the 11th house, of the public, in the sign of Aries. Aries is the firefighter. Aries, people with Aries energy, they come alive, not every single person, but in general, they come alive in a crisis. People with strong Aries energy make great, like ER doctors and nurses, firefighters, police officers, people who have to react quickly and decisively in an emergency situation. And she's a sun at 27 Libra and a moon at 27 Aries. She was born at a full moon. She knows how to dance with the other. And the full moon is at 24 of each of the signs. So the full moon is across her axis. We are being shown like she is in the spotlight. And the full moon at 24 Aries next week is conjunct Eris, the goddess of chaos. And I recorded the podcast, so you can listen to it next week, about how the full moon is conjunct Eris. And it's called the Lady in Red, which is a big theme of this solar eclipse. And this eclipse season we've had with the full moon in Pisces, and then the solar eclipse, the lunar eclipse in Pisces, solar eclipse in Libra. And yes, so we are really, really seeing this. And we've had enough of just that. Anybody who's worked for corporate America for a long time, or any kind of business where there's always going to be some kind of bossy person, typically a male, who talks a big game, blah, 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 but doesn't understand any of the steps or the actions that need to get things done. And part of Pluto in Aquarius is strong. It's like in the history, it's been strong female leadership. People who know how to not just bloviate and talk, but know how to get down to business and get stuff done. And that's what we're seeing as Pluto stands still. We're watching this. And Christiane Amanpour had a show about the soldiers in Israel, the female soldiers who were at that border and who kept telling the headquarters that Hamas was jumping around, practicing stuff, and the female soldiers were ignored. And then October 7th happened, and now there's this mass plutonic catastrophe in the Middle East where so many people are homeless, and it's just a completely avoidable tragedy. But these women soldiers who were slaughtered at the border, a lot of them, were not listened to. And I think this is, as we're, Christiane Amanpour is talking to them, some of them who survived, as we're going forward into Pluto in Aquarius. And I think it's really, really symbolic as well of that. So that is what I wanted to say. Yeah, Eris, the goddess of chaos. Okay, let me see if there are any. Yes, women can get shit done. Hi, Sunny Days. More kind people, new kinds of leadership. We've had enough of, like cheering, like Trump congratulating, what is his name? Elon Musk, or as he calls him, Leon, for firing, just firing people, anyone who joined a union in or something about unions in Elon Musk companies. Elon Musk treats his staff like hot garbage. Is this what we want for our country going forward? The workers, that's not Pluto in Aquarius. I'm sorry. Yeah, no kidding. Yes. Yeah, she's not playing around. She's not playing around. She came to win. She is building a coalition where she's going after, Nikki Haley voters and moderates, coming to a consensus. She has the ability to be a great healer if she sticks to really considering, all signs. She could be somewhat of a healer in chief, although there's still going to be a lot of chaos and division for at least a while. But, yeah. Oh, your schools are getting shut down because of online threats. That's terrible. Yes, the newsrooms don't carry the same trust, Patty. Yes, it's great. We are seeing behind the curtain and seeing what really happens, so that to counter the misinformation. Yep. Oh, yes. Yeah, Donald Trump made his staff show him records for Orange County. Trump did not want to send California money for the wildfires. Yeah, I've read that. Yeah, even Nixon, would not have done this to the country. Yeah. Yep. Oh, yes, Eva. Yes, that lunar eclipse exposing the lies. And Ron DeSantis would not speak to Kamala Harris yesterday, I think it was. And he told the people of Florida there was plenty of gas, but she called about resources and what was needed. And there are people in Florida who are stranded on highways with no gas and probably listening to him say there was plenty of gas. And who knows, would they have been able, the federal government, been able to get in additional fuel if needed? Hi, Tiffany. Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, yeah. Astrology is amazing. Yes. Yeah. Oh, your Saturn's conjunct 0-1 Libra. Yeah, that's my IC. Yeah. Yeah, we're seeing. Yeah. Yeah, you can watch it back, super bad, Salona. But I just had to come up on here because it just hit me that what we're watching in action, this, really getting to see the government work and what they do behind the scenes. And I got emotional because this restaurant in my neighborhood has staff from like the Yucatan Peninsula where the government doesn't have this kind of infrastructure and people are underwater without any resources, and they were GoFunding me for somebody's relatives there. But the United States government has a lot of problems. There's a lot we can talk about that's awful about it, but that there are really, really good things about it, and seeing them do this work has been really awe-inspiring to know that, we are not alone. Like seeing people, there were rescuers rescuing a horse. There were some police officers who rescued a dog someone had left tied up to a fence down with the hurricane, seeing neighbors helping neighbors, people coming into action, and the government being behind the force, working to deploy all these resources as fast as possible. Do we have enough? I'm sure not, but the work is being done with what we have available from our congressional budgets and whatnot. So anyway, that's what I wanted to say. I hope this was helpful and informative. This is my take on the astrology. Someone tried to tell me, I don't know, I'm not politically knowledgeable. And I was like, you can disagree with me, but excuse me, I know enough of what I speak that, and this is my analysis of the energetic flow. You can disagree with me. We'll see when we find out the final results. But anyway, that is it. Take good care. And hoping everyone in the eye of the storm, really thinking about you. Hoping everyone, sending love to those people in this suffering and hardship.